Did you know that bias binding creates beautiful armhole finishes and wovens? Let me show you how it's done. First, grab yourself a double folded bias binding and press it into a single fold tape in the middle. Of course, you can also make your own bias binding. Now start aligning the raw edges of your armhole with the raw edges of your binding, right sides facing. Sew at a 1 cm seam allowance or half the width of your binding. I like to position the bias binding as I sew, but you can also pin it down if it makes you feel more secure. Next, you'll need to press the bias binding away from the top and onto the seam allowance. If you have an edge joining foot, now's the time to use it, but if you don't have one, no problem. We're going to be understitching the binding, meaning we will sew 1 to 2 millimeters away from the previous seam, catching the seam allowance under the pretty side of the binding. With the finished result looking like this, flip your garment to the wrong side and flip over the pretty side of the bias binding towards the inside. You may have to trim the seam allowance underneath it for a cleaner finish. Lock the fold in with a press and steam, use some pins to keep your work from shifting, and head to your machine where we will stitch the binding down, again, 1 to 2 millimeters from the edge. And here's the finished result. Have you ever tried this method? If not, what's keeping you?